everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make 4 more cards using alcohol inks and alcohol pearls and a variety of close to my heart products. So these are the alcohol inks, and I've got a variety of colors, and then alcohol pearls. And then I'm going to be using elegant snowflakes, Merry borders, Yuletide borders, retired snowflakes, and stitched hexagon thin cuts, and a couple other sets that I'll mention along the way. So let's get started. I'm using Yupo paper, and this is a plastic coated paper that's specifically made to use with alcohol inks. And you need blending solution. You need to put that down on your Yupo paper first, and then just start dropping different colors of ink down. So these are the alcohol pearls, and I'm using a variety of greens and blues. I'm just dropping them down, and then you can just let them move around on their own, or you can help them out with the ink blower tool. So I'm just pushing it around on the cardstock, and I should, in the future, I'm going to be a little more patient and let it kind of move on its own. The pearls tend to be a lot more active, and they move quite a lot, and so you can just let them move and do their own thing before helping them out with the blower. But I eventually got to a place I liked. Okay, so now I'm using another piece of Yupo paper with alcohol inks. So you have to remember to put some blending solution down first, and then you can just start dropping color down. So I'm going to use some blues and purples and pinks. Get them to start blending and moving around. I used quite a lot of that cobalt, so I'm going to have to bring in some other colors. And you can also add extra blending solution to break up the colors on your panel. There's a lot of different artistic options, and no 2 panels will be alike. It's just, these inks are fun to work with. They create beautiful backgrounds. So I'll take you through creating some panels, and then we'll make cards out of them, because it's great to make some beautiful inked panels, but we're making cards, and so I want to take you through from start to finish. So I'm just going back and forth and adding blender and more color and just pushing it around until I get to a place where I like what I'm looking at. There's no specific ending spot. You just keep going until you're happy. You do have to work rather quickly because the ink, it dries or stops moving pretty quickly. You can re-moisten it with the blending solution. Okay, so now I'm taking a piece of white glitter paper. This is close to my heart, white glitter paper. And I'm going to do the same thing. And you'll notice that the ink moves a little differently, and it absorbs a lot more quickly into the glitter paper. So it's a different feel, different technique. Doesn't move quite as much. You have a little bit more control over where you're dropping color. You can always add some blending solution and move it around. So I'm just using some pinks and purples for this one. Okay. And then I'm going to take a piece of Yupo, and these are the alcohol pearls. I'm going to use some blues and purples and move this around. And this panel I'm going to be cutting up using the stitched hexagons. So this is some of the gold alloy, and it's kind of a different feel. It's more of a paste, and it will sit on top of the inks, and it moves around a little differently, and it will when you start working with it, it will flake off a bit after your panel is dry, so be mindful of that, and just work carefully with it. So now let's prep some more to make some cards. So I'm using some white glitter paper, and I'm going to cut out some snowflakes and other die cut images with other colors of the glitter paper, and then also that inked glittered panel that I made. So bringing my Big Shot in and just running this through, show you that process real quick. So I've mounted all of the glitter paper onto double-sided sticky tape. So I'm basically making stickers. So you have to go back and forth a few times to make sure that all of your die is cut through. And you do have to help them, poke them out with your piercing tool, because it's several layers and it's quite thick. So it does cut all the way through. You just have to help it out a bit with your piercing tools. Okay, so now I have a whole bunch of pieces that I've cut out. And this is my pearl inked panel, another pearl inked panel. And this is the alcohol ink, and then the glitter paper. Okay, so let's make some cards. First thing I'm going to do is cut up this first alcohol inked panel using the stitch hexagons. So I'm going to run this through and cut the entire piece up with as many hexagons I can get out of it. And I use every last bit of this paper, or inked panel. Okay, so now I have all of my elements, and this is the tree line border thin cut. It's a retired thin cut from close to my heart a couple years ago. And I've cut evergreen glitter paper and white glitter paper. So I'm going to keep this one pretty basic and simple. So I'm going to use a black cardstock border, and it'll be a landscape A2 size. And I wasn't quite sure if my panel was completely dry, so I'm bringing in some scratch paper just in case, so I'm not making a mess. Okay, so now I'm going to adhere that and have a border of black around it. And then I'm going to layer my tree line border at the bottom. So I'm just trimming it so it fits, and then I'm going to layer it on top of those white trees and then place it on my card front. So we'll get that down and then trim it up so it fits. And then we'll add our sentiment. So I'm going to keep this pretty simple just because that inked panel is so pretty. I want to let that really shine. So I'm looking at some of my sentiments that I've cut and decided that I've cut this joy sentiment. I believe this is Hero Arts, and I've used sapphire glitter paper. And that's my finished card. I'll have some close-ups here. Keeping that one simple. That pearl ink is so pretty. Okay, now we'll make another card. I use this blue alcohol ink panel and some of these Yuletide borders. This Merry Christmas die is an older one from Elizabeth Crafts, and I've cut that using silver glitter paper. So I'm going to place my border down on some, I'm going to place my ink panel down on some black cardstock to have a black border around the edges. And the black cardstock is cut just a smidge smaller so that it has a white border from the card base. So it looks like it's double matted. Then I'm going to place this Yuletide border strip down, and it's over the edges, and so I'll be trimming those off in a second. I'll get those placed down, and then we'll just snip off that excess. And again, this one's going to be really simple. Once you have your alcohol ink panels made and they're dry, then the cards come together really quickly, I think, after you've cut out all of your different elements. And it's worth taking the time to mount your glitter cardstock on double-sided adhesive to make stickers. It just makes it a lot easier to place them down on your cards, especially with the real detailed, then cut pieces. Okay, so that's that finished card. I love that blue and green alcohol ink panel. It's so pretty. Okay, so now this is the white glitter paper that I used different colors of pinks and purples alcohol ink. And this one is going to be very glittery and blingy and sparkly. I've got all of these images cut with white glitter paper. This piece sentiment is from the Merry Borders set. So I'm just kind of moving them around on my card front to figure out placement. And these are all stickers. And then I'll create my card here. Okay. So I'm going to adhere that glitter paper direct to my card front. Have a white border. And then I'm just going to place all of these glitter images down. Lots of sparkle and shine for this one. Get all those down. And then I wanted to add even more. I'm going to bring in some of these gems from PinkFresh Studios. And these lavender colored ones, they kind of disappeared, so I decided to bring in the white iridescent ones and use that color instead. They showed up a lot better. So I'm just going to scatter them all around and then adhere them with white Tombow glue. And that's that finished card. So pretty. Okay. Now we'll do another card, and this will be using, I had some extra hexagons. So of course I want to use everything I've got, so I can make this last card with all the last bits that I have left over. So I'm going to use these snowflakes and hexagons, and I'm going to place everything on a black card base. I've got these tiny hexagons and different sizes of hexagons to place on this card base, and that Merry sentiment is from Merry Borders. It's cut with white glitter paper. And then I have the word Christmas. It's also from the Merry Borders set. I'm going to stamp that in sapphire ink and then fussy cut that sentiment out really quick. And I'm cutting it so that there's a tiny white border around the word Christmas. So it'll pop a little bit more against that black card base. So this will be a landscape A2 size card. And I'm just going to place all my elements down on my black cardstock. The card has the white card base border around the black cardstock, and then I'm going to pop the word Christmas with some thin foam dots. And then we'll just get all of our elements placed on our card front. So it's a little bit like putting a puzzle together, just kind of moving things around before I start adhering. All right, get all those placed down. And then the last step will be to add some crystal gems for a little extra added sparkle. So most of these supplies are available in my online store. I will make a list with links in the description below. And then I will also make a list of all of the supplies that are not available through Close to My Heart in a separate section, also in the description below. Of course, all the alcohol inks are not sold through Close to My Heart, so but they're very inexpensive and pretty easy to find. So I'm scattering some of these gems around, and then I'll have some close-up shots of this card at the end. So pretty. These inks are so much fun to work with. I hope you give it a try. So I appreciate you watching my video today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And thanks for watching.